What up, you guys? I hope everybody is doing well. This is our weekly energy oracle forecast where we are taking a look ahead at the week to come to see what kind of energy and spiritual weather we're going to be living in. Let's see, this weekend was, I guess today is St. Patty's Day. Do you celebrate St. Patty's Day in your part of the world? St. Patrick's Day celebrates St. Patrick, who ran the snakes out of Ireland. I don't know what the origin story is. I've never been a huge fan of St. Patty's Day, and I feel like it probably has to do with something like getting rid of paganism and Celts witches. So that's probably why I don't give a shit about St. Patty's Day. But yeah, I'm Irish. I like clovers. I like green. I like leprechauns. I like getting pinched. So I'm always like, do I wear the green? Do I not wear the green? Yeah, I love Celtic lore and all of that. I'm Scots-Irish, so it's like this is my part of my blood. So in that regard, I do like it a lot. Yeah, but as far as like the an American holiday, I don't really get that into it because mostly it's just like bros and hoes out wearing cheap plastic beads that look like shamrocks, and they're getting like super drunk, like the drunkest all year, because that's the only thing that you're supposed to do for St. Patty's Day is to get super drunk. There's no real traditions or like ritual. That's it. So people get super shit-faced, and my ex-boyfriend from a long time ago got drunk on, I didn't go out, I think I had to work or something, but he went out on St. Patty's Day, right before we got together, right as we were getting together. And he got arrested because he went in somewhere, they had a deal where like, if you bought a shot of Jameson, you also got a beer and chicken fingers in a shirt. And so he had so many, like he blacked out, he had too many chicken tenders, he had so many shirts. And the reason he got arrested was because he basically turned into one of those like giants on a rampage through the city. And he stumbled through some like caution construction things on the sidewalk, grabbed 2 mustard bottles and a hot dog cart and like squirted them everywhere, and then wandered off into the same construction site, fell on a bulldozer, hit his head, and I think he got a concussion. And so he ended up getting arrested for trespassing and public intoxication. So yeah, it's just things like that. And then people being happy about Irish people. So top of the morning to you. The first card we got out was stability. So yeah, this is like everyone trying to find their stability after St. Patty's Day, I guess. But yeah, the reason I went into St. Patty's Day rant was because this year I thought it was really silly. I already have beef with the commercialism because like you're around like July and they already have Christmas stuff. And we spend all year waiting for spooky season, and it's like we want that whole thing to be like September, October. We would take November. And it's like you're barely like to October and already the pumpkin candles are gone, and like they've already like skipped forward. No Thanksgiving themed stuff. It's like already Christmas, and then you're like doing like pre-Christmas stuff. It's still like Halloween. You're like, I'm not ready for this. Like, stop rushing me. I just want to be in the season while the season is happening. And part of the season is the season-oriented holiday crap at the store. You know, it's part of like how you identify the times we're living in. So I get like really grinds my gears, and in this day and age, with all the horrors in the world, this is what really, really keeps me up at night. And so then the other thing that like, I'm like, this has gone too far, and it's in this source of, this is in the root of this whole like rushing through and like just, you know, doing things when we want. So I get that we kind of sometimes celebrate Halloween the weekend of Halloween instead of like in the middle of the week, because Halloween is like you got to do the whole costume thing. There's parties you're going to, there's planning, there's lots of stuff during the day. Children start trick-or-treating at like like at 3 in the afternoon. You're like, I'm not even home yet. Wait, I gotta get my stuff. So yeah, I get that. Like sometimes we do Halloween the weekend around it. However, St. Patty's Day, this is a week holiday, and people were celebrating it on Saturday instead of today. And it's just like, it's not even worth. It's like, just do it on the day of. We don't have to like carve out a special day for St. Patty's Day. So it was like, I don't know, all the St. Patrick's decorations and stuff are up today, but like nobody was out. It was like all yesterday. Stability. I love this. I love that finally, after being so soggy from the Pisces season, and I remember recently saying like, it felt like Pisces season was just like extra long. It started extra early. And I think that's true. I think we did have an extra long Pisces influence because we had Pisces season beginning. And then after a couple of weeks, then we had the Pisces new moon, which influences the new moon, whatever the new moon is, whatever sign that is, influences the whole month. So it's just been this like, like a liquidation sale where they're like, everything must go Sunday. And it's like it's going out of business. So they're trying to get rid of everything. They're trying to purge because they have to clear the space for something new, right? And the new business coming in. It's already signed the lease. And that is what Pisces season has been like this year. It's like everything must go. All of the biggest limiting patterns, all of those triggers. Why do you get triggered by that? Your trauma responses, you're finally starting to see. Like, it's so funny too, because all of the coaches and things for all the different categories in my life, they have all started talking about nervous system related things like all at once. And it's so funny because over the last couple of weeks, it's like that's what we've been really focusing on, specifically on this channel, bringing that up to talk about. And it's like suddenly over the last couple of weeks, it's like it's coming up in all these different coaches conversations on their videos, no matter what category they're coaching in. So I think that's really interesting that we are really finding more stability the more that we are getting under the surface and figuring out what is the last little pieces that we need to clean up and heal in order to have a really fully stable next cycle starting with good solid structures and foundations. And so regulating our nervous system is going to be a big part of it. And figuring out that practice now and then doing it regularly is going to help. And I think it does a lot. It benefits you so that you don't need it as much anymore, but you can certainly use it anytime. It's because it's so easy to get dysregulated, right? This is such a harsh, chaotic, brash, clanging gongs kind of world. It's just like, so much stimulus everywhere, right? So it's just so nice to be able to regulate and find that stability in the nervous system. And the reason it's so important is because when the nervous system is dysregulated, it kind of triggers you to go into low-level trauma responses. And this behavior is actually very destructive because, like, for instance, freezing, it can cause you to lack, it can cause you to be an underperformer for many reasons. It can be like you can't really focus, you're not very productive, you're busy on all the wrong things, or you get like flustered and you make a lot of mistakes. You have to go back and redo things, and it can result in all kinds of things. And it can be really like deep subconscious stuff where it's almost like magically things, get in the way to hinder you with a dysregulated nervous system, like going into, fawning, where if you're worried or that your environment is upset, it's like then you're people pleasing and you're putting yourself out and you're burning yourself out and leaking your resources and life force just to make everybody happy because you're in survival mode and you're afraid you're gonna be abandoned, right? And so this is chemically bad for your body because you're releasing all these like stressful hormones all the time. But also just in the micro patterns of your day-to-day, it's thwarting you and holding you back. And so this can be contributing to like your professional life, your romantic life, your relationships, your day-to-day, your ability to be functional within your household, just keeping up and maintaining things. Or like, do you have like severe procrastination? Do you have a hard time being decisive? Just there's so many little things that seem subtle, but when you add them all together and you look at your work and you're like, man, I've been doing all this emotional healing. I've been looking at things differently just from like a soul perspective. I've been trying to have a more spiritual perspective. I've been doing my spiritual practice. So it's like, what is it about this pattern that keeps coming back that is almost like you're doing all the things in your control that are in your control that you're aware of, and it's still there, and it's like maybe the last of it it's just that it's now living in your nervous system. And now that's the part that you have to address. It's like a very physical issue. It's like, oh, this is like muscle memory now. And so even though I have changed my perspective and in a spiritual and soulful sense and a mental sense, like I'm a different person about this, but my physical body, my chemicals, my operating system, the computer, it needs to be updated and the viruses need to be cleaned. So that's kind of what's been going on. And it's been feeling like we'll never stand on solid ground again. We're just going to be in this like muddy bog forever in a quagmire. But the sunlight is coming out again, and it's burning off that added moisture of the water sign of the wettest part of the season. It's just all this emotion and like deep feeling. But then at the same time, our imagination is becoming so powerful and vivid. And so right now it's very helpful to create thought forms with your imagination. So when you think thoughts in your mind and you entertain things in your imagination, you're fantasizing about the things that you dream of doing and accomplishing, that is not just some pictures that are running through your mind that have nothing behind them. They're thought forms. You're creating like almost like a world in and of itself. Like in the astral realm, it's like you're creating life forms that exist in a thin way, but it's like they're there. And the more that we believe in this vision and the more that we think about it and get crystal clear on it and we have feeling when, the thought of it evokes feeling and it's almost like it's real to us and it's almost already there. It's like that's what's bringing your manifestation into crystallization, right? So these thought forms that we're thinking, like they can become more and more solid and real. And on some level, they are real. That's why like certain myths, it's like there's some truth to them, or there feels like there's some kind of like universal cosmic truth. It's because like the whole human consciousness has agreed in unison on these things and contributed to that collective thought form and the collective consciousness, right? So, so we're using our imagination to get really vivid and clear and solid on what life we would like to create. The soul calling in within us is telling us something, is pulling us somewhere, and there's like this desire. And so the more we can picture that, it's like the stronger our signal to pull it towards us and to bring it through into this 5D, from the 5D into the 3D. So yeah, this week, like do things that nurture your stability. And if you need to do things in your physical kingdom, like that certainly helps to just get like stuff like that out of the way. You know, if you have had things piling up around the house that you need to take care of, or like things to-do lists that have just been weighing on you, take care of those things, because it clears the energy, it gets the energy moving in your house, but it also clears the energy within you, and it gets your subconscious moving, and it purges you mentally and your energy as well. It takes all of that off your chest and off your shoulders. And so then there is so much more clarity when you sit down to direct your attention to what you're passionate about. You don't have all the worry and anxiety, but you also don't have the little things that you can like easily procrastinate with. You're kind of like, okay, well, there's nothing, I've cleaned the house, like everything is good. I've paid the bills. I did that stack of like little projects that needed to be done, you know, and then you can finally get into what it is that you're wanting to be doing. And then it just, not only that, you feel so good. And when you give yourself small wins, small victories, small accomplishments, you are building momentum, and you're actually reaffirming your faith and your self-worth and your trust in the Creator. And when you get lost and you're happy and you're fulfilled in the present moment, and you're not worried about the future, you're not worried about the past, it's like that's the most magical place to be in. That's when you have the most creative power, especially the most creative power to manifest, because you are one with the Creator at that moment. You have affinity with the light, like you are ever present, you are eternal, you are not, you know, separated, you are in unison with yourself, and you are happy and you're fulfilled, and you're not wanting for anything. You're complete, right? But you have desire. You're joyous. So this week, I feel like we are going to be feeling stability coming through. This is also very like, it looks like spring is like coming in to bloom in this picture. We've got some crystals beginning, like the manifestation beginning to crystallize. The mushrooms growing nourishment from all that is dead and fallen away. It's like that's what we're doing with Pisces. It's like we're integrating all the wisdom that we've learned and earned so far. But the challenge with Pisces is that they lack the vessel to have the desire to keep going, right? Because they've come all this way, so they've learned to be self-sacrificing and wanting to give and share and heal others. But a lot of times Pisces, like they put themselves out and they put themselves last because they don't have as much of a desire to receive for themselves anymore. And so that can be their downfall, because it makes it hard for you to manifest, because in order to manifest anything for your life, including your soul purpose and your calling, it's like it's up to you. Like that's on your, you know, it's like written in the stars for you, but it's not going to happen for you. You're here to do that. And part of like getting that destiny is the journey that you take and the effort that you make to create it and make it happen. So it might be set aside for you, but it's not going to physicalize in this life unless you go for it and you're determined and like you let nothing stop you, right? So you have to have a desire, an active desire to want to put effort in to receiving for yourself. Sometimes it can be so much easier to just relax and be complacent and be satisfied and, you know, be comfortable, right? It takes desire to keep making an effort, to keep pushing for something, to keep building and to maintain and sustain what you have. But whatever is worth creating it takes effort, but it is of value. I've been gardening, so I just noticed my nails still look pretty bad. I didn't have time to paint them before work, and I took my nail polish to work, and then I forgot and didn't have time to paint them before the shift started. So again, people had these nails. Okay, so stability coming in this week, but I think it's going to be as a result of like the things that we're doing. It's not going to happen for us, but there is like real potential to establish stability and, you know, put more create more of it, but it's going to be because you make a conscious effort and you are integrating your wisdom to do so. Okay, well, what else other than stability this week? It's like we need stability, we're creating stability, we're feeling more stability in our lives. You know, I was just thinking, I was just given the vision of like when you're taking off from the runway in a plane, because it's like we're concluding this last cycle and we're starting a new one. And so it's like we're finally finding stability, but everything's still kind of up in the air as well. So it's not real stability, but we're more stable than we were a minute ago. We're stabilizing for the trip. We've like acclimated to the state that we're in now. And so, yes, we are concluding a major cycle of life, and now we're being sort of like launched into the next cycle, and we're sort of out here right now, not fully aware of like what's forming and what's taking shape. And so it doesn't feel like we're very stable, or like it doesn't feel like if we get stable, we're like, we don't want to be too stable where we are right now, because it feels like we're in no man's land, right? But think about when the plane starts, like the processes of getting to the airport. So it's like you get to the gate and you're not stable. You've been uprooted. You've been through every, like, you know, there's security. You've gotten a coffee. You've gone to the bathroom. You're like up and down, up and down. And then you sit down at the gate and you have a minute to chill and you're like, oh, okay, that's a little bit stable. And then you're like, oh, well, not again. And, you know, you got to get up and get on the plane. You got to board, put your stuff in the overhead compartment, figure out where your seat is. Hopefully you're by the window or your favorite spot. And you get in, you got to like adjust the armrest and everything. You got that seatbelt buckle. Oh, finally you get all your stuff under the chair. So then you're stable again. And then, you know, it's announcement time and we're taking off and we're pulling around, pulling up to the tarmac, and then it's like fast. And then, you know, we get in the air, and then we get up in the air, and then we stabilize, right? And so that's when the captain comes on and he's like, hey, welcome to flight. We're going to be cruising at about, 300,000 miles an hour, or whatever it is. And it's like, that's kind of the stability that we're in right now. It's kind of like not a stagnant stability, not like all right, we're in for the long haul, like let's get comfortable kind of stability, but it's like, all right, we're leveling in to the flight. Heart chakra is coming up for the week. So focusing on opening the heart. This is our source of magnetism. This is where we manifest from, in a way, part of it. And so passion, desire, love, have to be, radiating from this center. This is the bridge where we connect, I feel, to like Holy Spirit and Christ and the other side. And this is like a gateway as well, but your heart is also an information processor. And so if your heart is open, your creativity is flowing, love is going out, love is coming in, and you're open to receiving. You're open to receiving opportunities, and open to receiving abundance and joy, and you're open and ready and willing to celebrate and participate in life. But if your heart chakra is closed, it's like you're wary, your defense mechanisms are up, you're closed off, you're not willing to let people in because you don't trust, or your trust has been damaged, and so you haven't learned to trust yourself again yet. And then so closing off your heart might feel like it's keeping you safe, but it's also keeping you closed off from like abundance and blessing and experiences and creativity and flow and expression. And so we want to keep that open. And green is a good color. St. Patty's Day, green. Green is a good color to activate that heart chakra and to enhance love and fertility and creativity and abundance in your life. So you can literally work with color by having the color around you so that you can see it. Like you can wear the color, you can keep you can put like green pillows around, whatever. You can drink out of a green cup that week. If you have like a green stone or something, you can put that next to you, especially if you have like a creative project you're sitting down to do. It's really great to surround yourself with green or have something green around because it enhances your creative flow and it opens your heart. Opening the heart chakra, I mean, literally like the practice of healing the heart to open it. I mean, I feel like that's what we basically are trying to get to the bottom of like every day that we're here. Like if I had a really easy, straightforward answer to this, I mean, we wouldn't need to watch these videos. We'd be completely Christ conscious and healed and completely compassionate and strong boundaried and also like giving and forgiving and everything will be all good. Just like no hostility, no malice, one love, unconditional, eternal. But yeah, that's the journey, right? It's because like the heart, it is an information processor and it is the connection that we have to Holy Spirit, to the higher self, to the Christ consciousness. And there's, all these sayings about like, trust your heart, follow your heart. And that can be very true. It can be the most true. However, if your heart is sick, if you're heartbroken, if you are, your heart can trick you. It can have false longings as a result of being in pain or being put under certain conditions, under like your heart being tricked for too long, with no other better way to say that, like your heart doesn't feel like it can trust, Yeah, if your heart's been starved for too long, it can let longing cloud its judgment. But I feel like, an anger and hostility and resentment and sadness and despair and disappointment, those things can all affect the way that your heart perceives and filters information. So it does take some tilling. Like if you were keeping a garden, that's what the heart is like. It's a garden. It has to be taken care of. And there's cycles and different kinds of ways that you take care of it during different times, right? Just like a garden, sometimes you're planting seeds, sometimes you're cleaning things up, sometimes you're fertilizing the soil and preparing it, sometimes you're letting the land lay fallow. But you do have to tend to your heart. You have to keep tending to it. And I think that's part of the spiritual discipline and practice that we do. And that's part of the benefits of having a daily spiritual practice where you're constantly connecting to source, but also where you're constantly searching yourself for darkness that's hiding out, that needs to be purged and cleansed. And so that's essentially what we've been doing. And so we've been searching our hearts and our souls and our minds, for all that density and darkness that we don't want to take into this next cycle. All right, cool. So activating that heart chakra this week. Now I do like to do meditations where I imagine like a vortex going clockwise to activate the chakra, counterclockwise to cleanse it. But then I'll think about the color that's associated with that chakra, and I'll imagine that pinwheel or that vortex, that spiral is charging it with the light of that color. And I'll imagine as I'm breathing that the creator's light, like this like light beam behind me. It's like coming down through my crown chakra and filling up everything. And then that's the generator. That's like the energy that's coming in that's charging the chakras. That's a good way to like literally like a spiritual technology to actually do. And then you could find like a either like a Hebrew I'm trying to think of the word, not affirmation, but is it a mantra that you say during a meditation? I think so. So or like a Sanskrit mantra that is related to the heart or love. That would be helpful while you're doing that. Okay. So what else do we need to see here? Okay, separation and reward. Okay. Hunt and toxic. Okay, so hunt and toxic, definitely we are like hunting down all of that toxicity and getting rid of anything that is toxic, like fear, lack, doubt, scarcity mindedness, evil eye, like being covetousness or covetous or envious or judgmental or like hating on people, even if you're like quiet about it, like wanting what they have, it's not yours. Like evil eye, passive evil eye can be like just worrying about someone or like thinking, you know, like doomsday thoughts about them, like the worst case scenario, even though you mean well and you like want them to be safe. It's like that worry kind of like, it's like passive evil eye. And then like evil tongue, right? It's like really anytime you're like talking idly about someone, you know, it can lead to chaos, right? So evil tongue, evil speech, just obviously like don't be, you know, like speaking poorly about someone is very negative. And it's so easy to we all do it, right? I mean, just think about even like in the culture, we like people who talk about like famous people and celebrities, like they're not even real people, like, and they're just like talking about them like in their lives, like, and judging them and like criticizing them for things. Like I listen to people's conversations all the time. I work at a restaurant and I'm just like, gosh, it's like, that conversation, do we need that on our scale over here that we're gonna have to work off? It's like when you start thinking about evil tongue and evil eye, you're like, oh, I just don't want to talk as much. So like we're sifting through, right? All of our negativity, right? All the judgment in our heart and anger and just hostility and disappointment and bewildered that it didn't go the way we wanted and all of those things. It's like, it's just like too much. I can't do this anymore. Blah. I want to like get it all out, purge it out and get it out of me. And that's going to help us elevate and, you know, stabilize, open that heart chakra. But it's something that we have to do like a hunter. We have to go after it. We have to make it our intention and have an active desire to pursue our flaws, right? We're the only ones that are going to do it. And if God forbid anybody else point out our flaws, right? It's like, yeah, well, if somebody would help, it's like when people do, you know, like, you're like, fuck you, right? You know, like you know, so it's like, it's only up to us. If other people are pointing out our flaws, we think they're nagging and we don't like it. We're insulted, right? So we have to take an active like effort to go after these things in ourselves. And hey, if you have the courage, you can ask some people around you what they think that your negativity is, what they think is holding you back, what they think your biggest like thing that you need to work on would be. But be ready to receive it with gladness and try to change it. But yeah, so actively pursuing that which is toxic in us and being ready to purge that. And also the more that we purge, the more like as a hunter in life, the things that we're going after, that we're trying to attain, our sustenance, our legend, our legacy, our purpose, our life partner, all those things that we want, that we're hunting, we're pursuing, we're going after, we're calling in, we're praying for, we're holding space for, we're preparing for. That's like all that effort that we're making, that's like being the hunter. but we need to take active effort to do that. And so the more that we get rid of this toxicity, it's like the more successful our efforts in when we go to hunt for our sustenance and our, the game, right, for the next chapter. And so our other two cards were separation and reward. So again, hunting down the toxicity in our life is finding where we are separate within ourselves. Where are we out of alignment? Where do our thoughts not add up with our intention to create and be different and transform and to create a new cycle for ourselves, a new future, right? Are we still going into those same old loops? Do we still have self-doubt? Are we still feeling unworthy? Are we still feeling shame and guilt and lack? Are we still giving into hostility and resentment? Those things cause separation within us because those things do not share affinity with our higher self, and they do not share affinity with the light of the Creator. So basically, the universe, our universe as we know it, existence, is made up of like two main parts. The light of the Creator, and vessel, the thing that the light shares to us, the world, existence, right? And so in order to receive the light of fulfillment, to be connected with the light of the Creator, where we're going to be in that fulfillment, in that state of flow, in grace, in harmony, in miracle zone, where we have blessings and we're connected with those blessings, we have to have affinity with the light. We have to be in that vibrational resonance. And so we have to have that oneness within, where, like I was saying a minute ago, if you're just like lost in the present moment and you feel fulfillment and you're just happy and you're not really thinking about the future, you're not thinking about the past, you're just here, all whole, eternal in this moment, feeling good, feeling present, and feeling fulfilled. That is when you have the most affinity with the light of the Creator. That's when you're in your miracle zone. That's when the magic can happen. But here we're seeing lately, okay, this is what's making me fall out of separation from the light of the Creator. And we're being able to identify those moments in the day when they're happening with so much more like quickness. And like, we're like, oh, I'm falling out of affinity with the light of the Creator. I'm in separation right now. Reset. Get back into joy. Get back into love. Get back into eternity, unwaveringness, right? We need to get back into that cause consciousness. And so the miracle is that as soon as we shift our consciousness, we can be right back in union, right? And so this is why we have this reward here. Look, I love this. They're so proud, standing up so tall. Look at me. I have my reward. I did good. I've learned. I graduated. I got my prize. And so it's like this is like us finally learning, like, okay, I see when this is happening to me. I see, oh, I'm in separation. Okay, now I know what to do to get back into oneness with the light. And that is our reward, that growth that's going to come from that, right? In this next chapter, it's like, look how tall we can stand. Before, we were this smaller version of ourselves, split in two. And now it's like, oh, we're this whole being, fully grown and formed and proud and sovereign, completely different from this version of self. We are here as the higher self, right? Literally a taller, higher version of self. And so we're learning how to connect with that. And so the more that we can identify when we're in separation within ourselves, and it's like, okay, this is a good common example of how you might be in separation with yourself. Say you are, for like health reasons or health choices, you need to start eating better. Say you have celiac and you need to go gluten-free, and you don't have extreme, like immediate symptoms, but you have the kind of symptoms that create damage over the long term that you don't even realize. And so you know in your mind and in your heart and your soul, like the best thing for you is going to be to dramatically change your diet and just give up certain foods. But that's hard to do. It is very hard to do. And so if you're like going through your week and you keep eating like pasta and pizza, and you're like, oh, I don't feel too good. I got like low energy, my joints are hurting and stuff. But you're like, you just kind of keep doing it. It's like, then you're in separation, because you know that you feel better, and you know that it's better for you, and it's the higher choice. And you know that that's part of your goal, is that you've already set out, you like want to make that change, but it's like you're not doing it, you're not following up. And it's like, maybe you can have pizza sometimes, but it's like you're as a lifestyle, it's like you're not living the way you know you should be now. Okay, that's causing one level of separation, because you're not in alignment, you're not in integrity with your intention and with the higher version of you that's like, oh, I love gluten-free, I feel great, look at my glowing body and radiance because I'm so healthy and gluten-free, right? I don't know. So that would be in alignment. But then also there's this aspect of being out of being in separation from your goal. It also has this residual effect of causing you low level or even severe to acute to severe, moderate to severe guilt and shame, because you're like, oh, I'm failing myself. I'm not being consistent. I'm lying to myself. Like, I said I was going to do something and I didn't do it, and I let myself down, right? And so again, that's not in alignment. Heart, mind, soul, body, spirit, action, right? That's all over the place. It's like, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't, kind of thing. So when we see those things and we can cut it out, if you all know Full House, the OG Full House, not this weird warm-up microwave Full House, deep cut joke. But anyway, if you cut out that behavior and you cut out what's not in alignment, like, you're going to reap the rewards very fast, very fast. But like, we're encouraged here, like, we need to open our hearts and start doing things to build that stability and to keep reinforcing that stability. And so then that will grow and amplify through all of this. The more effort that we put into going after what we want, but also going after what's keeping us from getting what we want within us. We can't address the outer issue. This is an inside job, right? So it's like, if you're not getting what you want, say like at work or something, it's not about what's going on at work that you need to address and change. There's something inside that needs to be changed first. And that is the thing that's probably the reason the universe has this thing going on at work in the first place. And so address the issues inside, hunt the things inside down that need to change, and see what that does for you. And I have a feeling we're going to be on the other side of a lot of rewards this week. So let's challenge ourselves. What is one simple thing that you can think of right now that you can get into alignment that will make the biggest difference for you? For me, it's been to try and change my bedtime to go to bed earlier and wake up earlier. And I was able to do that a few times last week, and it made a huge difference. And I felt like $1,000,000, and I felt so excited because I was able to squeeze in some of the things that are important to me during the week, and I got to put touches on everything and make progress in a lot of places. So that was very rewarding, even though I wasn't able to do it perfectly every day. Progress over perfection. So tell me in the comments, do you have anything like that? It's something that seems small that can actually make a huge difference, like a compounding difference for you. And it doesn't have to be huge. But for me, the bedtime shift is huge, because just a couple of extra hours earlier in the day makes a difference in the kind of like my writing project that you need to kind of like do a little bit every day and be consistent. Like those things, like it will add up over time. And at the end of the year, that one change has so many positive effects that can make a huge difference for me. And so that is the thing that I'm working on, and it's really hard because I like to, well, I mean, I have a lot to do before and after work. So there's not, I don't have a lot of just like free time, but yeah. So we'll see, but it was nice. It was a good shift. All right, y'all be good, but not too good. And I'll see you tomorrow for our weekly anchor message, where we will be getting our spiritual lessons for the week. Hey, ciao.